Good morning, everyone. I greet you in the name and the spirit of Jesus Christ. It's good to be with you for this celebration of life, of the life of Beth, Brough. And we just a couple of quick housekeeping type comments. First of all, apologies that we don't have a parking lot. This is one of those days where we could really use a parking lot. This is a church that has never had a parking lot, but there are times when it could be useful. So anyway, thank you for that, for parking where you could this morning. Also, there are bathrooms. There's one bathroom on this level, right across this room over here, and then there are also two bathrooms below on the basement level. So those are right down the stairs back on this corner of the building. So, I do want to just mention that everyone is invited, of course, for the reception following the service. That will be downstairs, and also we have a new tent, and so people will can take food and drink and go out under the tent in the backyard, which is a brand new thing that we have just done. So with that, I'd like us to start with the words from the prophet Isaiah, where he writes, "The Lord God has given me the tongue of a teacher, that I may know how to sustain the weary with a word. Morning by morning, God wakens my ear to listen as those who are taught." To me, that summed up. There's no better description of Beth's quiet and beautiful ministry among us. Again and again, Beth knew how to sustain the weary with a word. A carefully chosen word of consolation, encouragement, gratitude, or love, written in her beautiful cursive and arriving at just the right time. So many of us have been touched by those notes. Many have kept those cards and notes, returned to find them, to read them again. Beth's words still speak and still offer comfort. So we gather today to remember and to give thanks for the life of Beth, beloved wife, mother, grandmother, family member, friend, cherished member of this church. But we come with sadness because we will miss her deeply, but also with gratitude for the love and compassion she shared so generously, for her concern for justice and peace, for her delight in music and the beauty of the world around her, and for the sure and steady faith by which she lived. We gather trusting that the God who accompanied Beth throughout her life has received her now into eternal love and peace. In the company of one another, surrounded by music and memory, let us celebrate Beth's life, commend her to God, and give thanks for all that she has given us. And I invite you to pray with me. Eternal God, our beginning and our ending, you are with us in life, in death, and in the life beyond death. Be especially near to us as we remember and celebrate Beth today. Hold us in our sorrow and open our hearts to gratitude. Help us to remember her compassion, her faithful concern for others, her devotion to family and friends, the words of kindness and encouragement she so generously shared. May the music offered today carry what words alone can't express. May our memories bring both tears and joy, and may the beauty Beth loved, the birds at the feeder, the woods around her home, the mountains in the distance, remind us that we remain surrounded by your goodness and grace. Grant us the assurance that Beth is at peace in you, and that nothing, not even death, can separate us from your eternal love. Amen. Just one final housekeeping note. If at any time, if you'd like to bring children into this room, if they're getting a little restless, anytime, feel free to do that. There's games and activities in the corner there, and don't worry about noise. We love children here. We love to have them Make all the noise they want. And then also, just so you know, there is a playground, new playground out to the side of the church too, and that can be used as well if anybody would like to take their children out there, always with supervision. So let us continue our worship. Continue our worship with the hymn. Number 4 in our hymnal, Joyful, Joyful, We Adore You. And I invite you to rise in body or spirit. Please be seated.
A reading from the book of the prophet Isaiah. For as the rain and the snow come down from heaven, and return not thither, but water the earth, making it bring forth and sprout, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goes forth from my mouth. It shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish that which I purpose, and prosper in the things for which I sent it. For you shall go out in joy, and be led forth in peace. The mountains and the hills before you shall break forth into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Instead of the thorn shall come up the cypress, instead of the briar shall come up the myrtle. And that shall be to the Lord for a memorial, for an everlasting sign which shall not be cut off.
I chose this next reading because it begins with words that seem to describe Beth's ministry among us. Encourage one another and build up each other, as indeed you are doing. Beth understood that encouragement could be a ministry. It was a ministry. Through her, as I mentioned, her handwritten notes, she let people know that they were remembered, cared for, and loved, and not alone. Her words arrived during illness, grief, uncertainty, moments of celebration. She took the time to find exactly the words needed. And those words often continued to sustain people long after the envelope had been opened. And this passage also reflects the larger shape of Beth's life, her compassion to those who were struggling, her commitment to goodness, justice, and peace, her gratitude, her deep and confident faith in the faithfulness of God. Listen then for the word of God as it comes to us from Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 5, verses 11 through 24, from the New Revised Standard Version. Therefore, encourage one another and build up each other, as indeed you are doing. But we appeal to you, brothers and sisters, to respect those who labor among you and have charge of you in the Lord and admonish you. Esteem them very highly in love because of their work. Be at peace among yourselves. And we urge you, brothers and sisters, to admonish the idlers, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with all of them. See that none of you repays evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another and to all. Rejoice always. Pray without ceasing. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. Do not quench the spirit. Do not despise prophecies, but test everything. Hold fast to what is good. Abstain from every form of evil. May the God of peace, God's self, sanctify you entirely, and may your spirit and soul and body be kept sound and blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. The one who calls you is faithful, and God will do this. And let us sing together another hymn all about possibility and new life and resurrection. This hymn is number 433 in the hymnal. In the bowl, there is a flower. Please be seated. And now we move into a time of tributes from the family. So I will open it to all of you.
Okay, make yourselves comfortable, everybody. Except the mic. I'm Holly. I am Beth's youngest daughter, youngest child. I'm the baby. I'm a oopsie. And I was married here 29 years ago.
Mom, hold the mic down. Mikey.
Sorry. There we go. Do I need to repeat that? I'm Holly. Mom's youngest child. And but my message today, my first message at least, is not from me, but it's from my mother to all of you in the church community. When my mom was in her, probably last week, she kept saying, I have to write the church. I have to write the church. And it became pretty clear that that wasn't going to happen. So I was like, Mom, why don't you just dictate it to me? I'll just transcribe it for you. Come on, Steve. And so I did. And so she would want me to read it to you and to Tim and to all of the church people. Now I just have to find it on my phone. Okay. And Tim already told you all about the letters that she used to write. To all of my dear friends at the church, this is the hardest letter I have had to write. You have been with me through this whole blessed journey and surrounded me with more love than anyone could possibly deserve or ask for. I will carry you in my heart always. So that's from Mom to all of you. And I don't know, we're all sort of up here going, we could say so many things. Like, when do you start? So I'm just going to go straight to Christmas. So if anyone in Oxford County needs an extra set of white twinkle lights come the holiday season, we can get you set up with that, because Mom's got you covered. The women loved her white twinkle lights, so many lights, so few outlets. Christmas really brought out the best in Mom. She loved reconnecting with her friends through all of the annual letter writings and Christmas cards. She loved to decorate, which I think everyone knows, and she was so good at it and very exacting, as Eileen knows, many of us know. Such a lovely touch for the decorations. She, of course, loved the singing and the music, and especially all the familiar carols. But she really loved the messages of Christmas, the message of hope, and the call to care for the humble and the hurt. And when I think of that night in Bethlehem and that Christmas story, that she and Dad, if they were the innkeepers, that Mary and Joseph would have had a room at the inn. It would have required her to do bed math, which is if John and Bruce take the twin room, and Holly and Sean sleep with Anna and Clara, then, okay, we have an extra room. Because she would do that endlessly. We can definitely squeeze in Mary and Joseph. That poor woman. She must be so scared. There were years when bed math was, she kind of abandoned it for a while when a lot of us had boyfriends or girlfriends, but weren't quite married. She'd be like, Holly, you go up there, and Sean, you go over. Well, I don't care. You guys work it out. That's what she said. You guys figure it out. Anyway, Christmas was my mom's time to shine, and she did. And just, it was never about the gifts. So I'm just forever grateful for that. But it was Christmas in 1970 when this musical came out called Scrooge. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but it was one of her favorites, and all families, I think, most families have movies or whatnot that are that bind them, you know, the insider references, secret understandings. Well, ours was Scrooge. So you should check it out this year if you haven't seen it. Mom loved Scrooge. And there's one line in the song that Scrooge sings at the end. My family knows what I'm going to say. There's one line in a Scrooge that Scrooge sings at the end when he decides that he's got a second chance at life. It's called "I'll Begin Again," and it's after the visits, of course, of the three spirits. Every year we would watch this movie with Mom, and when this came up, she'd like pump her arms. She'd go. So the line is, "I will make quite certain that the story ends on a note of hope," and then her arm would go up, "on a strong amen." And so, Mom, you did it. Hope and a strong amen. That's it.
How can I follow after my grandma's own words at her memorial? So, I was sitting at the table. I'm Zach, by the way. I'm Beth's grandson to Tom and Heather. I was sitting at the table last night. We were just it's a long travel day, and my dad just starts laughing. And I was like, "What are you laughing at?" And he goes, "Grandma just received a text on her phone." And I kid you not, the text said, "Don't be late tomorrow." And my dad was concerned. He was trying to figure out who it came from, right? So he's like, who has either a really good sense of humor or is messed up? And turns out that the number was from Turkey, and it was just a spam text. That being said, it's probably the funniest spam text I've ever seen. I'll try to be short and sweet. There's a lot of us talking, but I've been thinking about a lot of things over the last little week. I know that a lot of people know this, but those who don't, I'm expecting a child come February. And I've been thinking about what I want them to know about my grandma. And the obvious things come to mind. Her whatchamacallits, her who's'em-a-whatsits, her, well, listen, pal, as she would often end her phone calls with me. But really, it came down to three things that she's taught me. And I think if you take these three things in life, there's no silver bullet, but you'd live a very good life if you did these three things. Number one, what it means to love your spouse, and therefore your family. I went on certain stretches where I talked to my grandma weekly, and then I went to stretches where I talked to her monthly, but every single phone call ended the same. And I speak to her kids, her grandchildren. She would always say, "I'm just the luckiest grandma alive." And I thought about that, and I don't think it really came down to luck. I think it came down to such a beautiful matriarch for us to all look up to. And not only to her kids who raised all the grandchildren, but to the grandchildren themselves. So she always made sure to love her family and in turn love my grandfather. About 2 years after my grandpa passed, I was sitting with her and I just asked her, "How are you doing?" Which is a really loaded question now looking back at it. And she said, "I will never be the same again. A part of me passed away with your grandfather." And although depressing at the time, I thought it was a beautiful example of how someone should love their spouse, and that true and total unity. So today I have such peace knowing that she is with my grandpa. And that has got me through this week. The second lesson is staying committed to friends and family. My grandma never missed a birthday, a holiday, a celebration where she didn't write us a note. And it wasn't just her family, as we've all listened to, it was everyone. And in a time where we're so disconnected from everyone, what a beautiful message that she showed us which was to stay connected to those we love. I didn't realize until recently when she wrote my wife and I a wedding congratulations that I learned cursive through her. They gave up way before my time in teaching cursive. And I was like, Kylie, isn't this a beautiful note? And she goes, I can't read it. So she also taught me the beauty of knowing cursive. The last lesson is that joy can be created. It's not something you wait for. When I think of my grandma, I think of a bundle of joy that created joy every time we walked through the doors. You think sometimes it's easy to just have happiness come towards you, but sometimes you have to be the creator of it. Both her and my grandfather were shining examples of that. Those are the 3 lessons, and if we can all take those lessons and apply it more to our lives, we'd all be better people. We love you, Grandma.
Thanks, Zach. My glasses off. Don't get nervous, there's lots of pages. It's just really big print so I can read it. I'm Heather, Beth and Walter's oldest daughter. And if you didn't know before today, you will soon find out that we Broughs are known for talking and telling stories. And how could we not want to share stories about our mom? Her love and incredible spirit have been such an integral part of each of our lives. When I was thinking about what I could possibly say today that would honor my mom, the story of Martha and Mary kept running through my mind. For those of you who might not know the story, Martha and Mary were sisters, and like many sisters, loved each other very much, despite being quite different. They were preparing to visit from their dear friend Jesus, who, like many who visited our home growing up, did not come alone. Jesus brought his disciples along for the visit. Martha worked hard preparing food and serving the meal, making sure there was enough for everyone, and when they were done, she cleaned up after them. Mary, on the other hand, sat at Jesus' feet and listened and asked questions. Martha wondered why Jesus didn't ask Mary to help her, and his response was basically that Mary did the better thing, spending time with him. My mom was a lot like Martha. When my dad was stationed at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, they would welcome midshipmen to their home where my mom would make sure they enjoyed a delicious home-cooked meal. They always returned, some even after they had moved back to Mom's hometown in Medway. She hosted many a holiday gathering for the Holmberg clan and anyone else who had nowhere else to be for the holiday. Our home was beautifully decorated, and while quite cozy around our table, our bellies were filled with wonderful food. A gathering around the piano or the old pump organ for singing would always end the evening's festivities, usually with my mom at the piano. Year after year, when my siblings and I performed in our local high school musical, Mom, and I should also include my dad here, would host 60-plus teenagers in our home for a cast party after our last performance. The celebration always included lots of fun, lots of food, and of course, her favorite and famous peppermint frosted brownies that everybody adored. As Mom grew older and her back and legs were not as strong, she had to relinquish hosting the holiday festivities to her children. But even then, my mom would be found hovering over the cooktop, making homemade turkey gravy for our turkey dinner, usually with a grandchild as her assistant. Fortunately, we did convince her to give up adding giblets. As much as my mom was like Martha in the way she did things for family and friends, she actually was also very much like Mary in the way she was present to us throughout our lives. Being together as a family meant the world to her. She loved all the conversations, the laughter, the music, even the craziness. Although I think she was a little grateful sometimes when we all left and our home was a little more peaceful. She loved to get calls and visits from her grandchildren. She thought you were all amazing human beings, and she told me that often. She loved to have deep conversations with you, even when you didn't agree on some things. She wanted to know why you thought the way you did. She loved hearing about what new adventures you were on. She also loved just laughing with you. Oops. Extra page in there. When I would visit with Mom, there would always be a to-do list. There was a to-do list for each of my siblings. But I have to admit, often we would just sit and talk. Mom would listen, because I definitely have the Brough genes, and she would ask me questions. We had some different opinions on things, but we still enjoyed some great discussions. She was a wonderful listener. And Mom loved having visits with the many friends she met throughout her life. Some of them friends of her children, some of them friends from around the world, some of them friends from nearby. She found them also interesting and enjoyed every person, every visit, and every shared cup of coffee with her favorite slice of coconut cake. I guess, like Mary, my mom's life was about relationships and being present in those relationships. This was made very clear to me this past month when we brought Mom home from the hospital. The way we were able to come together as a family, rearranging schedules to make sure Mom was cared for, and that her wish to be home was realized. Seeing the beautiful way my niece Clara was so caring and loving to her grandma was such a blessing. The calls and visits from grandchildren and great-grandchildren that made Mom feel so loved and cherished. And then the number of calls and notes, and you know how much she loved those, and visits from her family and friends was amazing. So many people being present to her and letting her know how much she was loved and how much you valued her presence in your lives. More than once this past month, we told my mom it was so incredible to see how many people love her. And some of her final words to me were, make sure they know how much I love them. My hope for all of you is that you do.
Morning. I'm Sean McFadden, Holly's husband, and one of the three sons-in-law with the middle name Williams. William. We're not quite sure the significance of that, but Mom always thought that was kind of fun. But like many of us here today, I have innumerable memories of Mom, who she was, what she meant to her family and friends, what she meant to me individually. As I consider the scope and breadth of those memories, it's the small moments that will resonate most with me, the ones that seem inconsequential on their own, but collectively form a picture of a vital, generous, and loving person. I will remember Mom whenever I think of the New England landscape as home. Although she retained a soft spot for Gloucester, the coastal town of her birth, her Nordic soul reveled in the topographies and climate of the North Country, and she quite determinedly spent the last third of her long life here in Western Maine. She and I shared a very similar sense of place, a provincial bias that is perhaps a little too strong at times, in which there's northern New England and there's everywhere else. But her provincialism was only geographic in nature. Her door was always open, and she warmly welcomed visitors from near and far, keenly interested in them as people and as windows into the world beyond her hillside. I will remember Mom whenever there is a political topic of import making headlines. I was more willing than most to engage her in politics and current events, probably because we were so well aligned on most political and social issues. I didn't quite have the same appetite for television talk shows, But I would happily delve into far-ranging debates about public policy and the people who shape it, especially when the conversations include strong historical context. However, I had to take her word that Adlai Stevenson was a fine presidential candidate who deserved a better showing in the 1952 and 56 elections. I will remember Mum on the December Saturdays when the annual Army-Navy football game is held. Dad had virtually no interest in sports. You couldn't tell a touchdown from a touchback. But Mom loved the athleticism and drama of sports and long recounted the thrill of glittering Roger Staubach here at the Naval Academy. She loved all sports except golf, that is. Her acerbic side came to the fore when she caught glimpses of a tournament on television, dismissing it as unathletic and an unremitting bore. I will also remember Mom when it's time to select a tree for the holidays. She had exacting standards for Yule trees, insisting on perfect symmetry and fullness. In one year, we cut seemingly every balsam fir in a 1-mile radius of the house before we found one that met her ideals. I was always with Dad on that score. A Charlie Brown tree is just fine. But during the dark and cold days of early winter, she filled her house with that magical combination of light, resilient green, and deep woods fragrance, reminders that spring was not far away, and then that once more the days would be long and bright. But I will remember Mom most when it's a perfect summer day, like this one, like so many of those glorious days that she and Dad spent on the flank of Mount Abram. When the mountains and sky provide a riotous tableau of color, when the horizon seems to extend forever, and life itself seems illimitable. Alas, our time here is not limitless, and Mum is no longer with us in the physical realm. But the rolling landscape will endure, as will her indomitable spirit. And I have no doubt that her love and essential goodness will continue to guide and shape us as we navigate the circuitous tracks of our own lives. Mum, thank you, and we'll see you and Dad everywhere there is light and laughter and flowers and music in the air.
Hello, well, I'm Heidi, middle daughter. I don't know why they let me follow my erudite brother-in-law, so it's not good, but and I'm looking for Eileen's face. Where are you, Eileen? Can you raise your hand? Okay, raise your hand like hi in the classroom. There you go. Before I just say anything, I just want to share a quick story. Mom came home from the hospital determined to die and said, this is how I want to go out. And we were sitting there in the morning. She was still in her bed, not winking. And Eileen came to visit. And we were having our morning coffee and talking all kinds of things. And at one point, I just spoke about all the incredible 90-year-olds in this community. You know who you are, the nifty 90s Club women. Where are you? And we were saying, what is it about this place that these women live so long in such vital lives? And I was just saying, gosh, there's got to be something in the water in Bethel. And Clara, my niece, piped in and she said, I think Eileen is in the water. And I said, yes, that is it. Because of Eileen, my mom could stay in her home till the end, which is all we ever wanted. Such a gift. And she's been such a gift to our family, as the whole community here has. But I just wanted to say thank you. And we all did, because you know what you've done. So, and then I was looking through my dad's funeral folder that somehow randomly appeared, and there were Words to Live by John Walter Brough. And I read that at his funeral and had left space for Mom. So I thought, isn't that funny? One of Dad's, if you might recall when you were there, food past the expiration date won't kill you. So just that's so we sat down with Mom midway through her parting journey, still a little bit present, rolled her up to her bay window to look out at the birds, And she was still present, and we sat down and we're like, okay, Mom, what do you got for wisdom? You know, and some of them we knew right away. So I'm gonna read these quickly because Mom would want me to, and end quickly. So, a little words to live by Beth Brough, if you don't know them already. Answer every phone call. Could be a long lost friend. She would always answer every phone call, even the spam calls, no matter how long we coached her. Always pick the flowers for an indoor bouquet. And that is carried on through my sister Holly, and unbelievable bouquets everywhere. This was straight from Clara. The speed limit is only a suggestion. Grandma became Gma, and then became G Mario to all her grandchildren. As even at 90, right, Eileen? She would drive at about 90 miles an hour. She had a leg foot. It was incredible. If everyone pitches in, the job will go much faster, just so you know. We learn that. Always have a sweet to serve for unexpected guests. This one a handwritten letter is worth 1,000 social posts. And then she would always say midway through the day, no matter who you were, when you were there, I think everyone should take a nap. And no one did except Sean. There is one way and only one way to load. Can you finish the sentence? She knew that. One way, when it didn't happen, you were glad Mom couldn't get out of her bed. You were like, you would want to see what the dishwasher was. Always comfort the brokenhearted. Through comforting the brokenhearted, my mom made some of the most incredibly dear friends that became our dear friends for life. Maureen McLean, are you out there? Counting the minutes, the steps in a staircase, the number of stirs in a cake batter makes an activity more fun. Mom counted everything. Don't know why. Made her happy. Never stop exploring what it means to be human. That was one of my favorite things that I would have my time with my mom. We would, even at 90, she'd still want to be exploring how we could be better at being human. Know your civics, participate in your democracy. You'll see a wonderful slide at a protest downstairs when you go to the slideshow. You'll see, it speaks for itself. And then lastly, this was the main thing that I thought of, which is lead with the heart, listen long and well to people's stories, and be salty when the moment requires. And I just want to leave you with a beautiful, from George Eliot, who really is Mary Ann Evans, the famous writer, because I think this is what Mom would want all of us to do. It seems to me we can never give up longing and wishing while we are alive. There are certain things we feel to be beautiful and good, and we must hunger for them.
Hello, everyone. I'm John. I'm the oldest. If you're whispering to someone else, yes, he looks like Walter. I just made a list. That's what I was taught to do by Mom. And I know you guys have some questions, pressing questions you want answered. So the first one is, Maisie cat's okay. Right? The cat went with me. The cat's good. Went through the screen door. Like she did, but you know, she'll be fine. They're squaring off. She's squaring off with the other cat. So don't worry about the cat. I know that a lot of you were asking when do we get out of here or get to food. Mom wanted this to go a half hour, so I'm going to make it quick. I'm going to hit by lightning here or something like that. And then a lot, it's like how can we help? I would just say. Again, the amazement where this community, this church came together. All of you kept her in the place that she considered paradise until the end. So I just want to express gratitude for that. And keep her spirit of love and citizenship alive. And I know you will. And That's what I have. The cowbell's over there, by the way. I was thinking of getting it out, handing it to Brandon, letting him bring it for me weren't too long. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, I've never done this before. Okay. Hello. Okay. I'm Clara, and I am Holly's oldest daughter, the youngest child. I've actually thought about this moment for years. Often, when I've been trying to fall asleep, I've brainstormed what I would say on this day. Loose sentences that I could someday, when the time came, craft together into a speech that perfectly encapsulates all my grandmother was and what she meant to me. Maybe if I could prepare the perfect speech, then losing her would hurt less. But now that the day has come, I found myself avoiding the speech because of the sense of finality that comes with it, the reality that her 93-year-old chapter on this life has closed. Me being only 24 years old, I only knew Grandma for roughly the last quarter of her chapter on this earth. But from what I've heard, she never changed her wonderful soul throughout her life, including in its last decades when I had the privilege of knowing her. She was passionate, curious, giving, stubborn, and loving, and strong from beginning to end. Grandma was one of my favorite people from a very young age. All I wanted to do was spend time with her, especially one-on-one time. During our many visits to Vermont, to what felt like and feels like our second home, Grandma and Grandpa's house on Mount Abram, I would wake up early and carefully slink out of the bedroom that I shared with my parents and sister and head downstairs because I knew Grandma would be alone playing her morning solitaire at the dining room table, and it would be the one time a day I knew I could get one-on-one time with her. Her warmth was magnetic enough that little me was wanting to get up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday to be with her. Now, using the words warmth and playing cards in the same story about my very competitive grandmother is quite the paradox, but I would watch as she finished her games of solitaire, and then we would play a couple rounds of war before the rest of the house woke up and the day got started. Always accompanied by hot coffee and toasted butter bagels that Grandma always sliced in thirds and shared with us cousins. She loved us grandkids big, and we loved her in return. The hottest, most desirable seat at the dining room table during family dinners was the seat next to her. Planning to slyly mark that seat with a pre-sipped water glass and bargaining for what nights you got to sit in the chair to her right was just part of the weekends in Maine. Grandma being Grandma, her love and presence transcended beyond Mount Abram. I didn't love college. I was pretty lonely. But one of the people I have to thank for getting me through and making me feel less alone is Grandma. We WhatsApped on a weekly and bi-weekly basis from the beginning of COVID back during my final year of high school and through college. She was my person, comfort, and stability for those years. Wanting to record the joy she was and the laughter she provided, I secretly voice recorded hundreds of hours of our calls, using my phone to WhatsApp her and my computer to record the audio. Knowing her time left was finite and I wished it was infinite, having to buy an external hard drive to store all the data and memories was an easy price to pay, as long as I never told Grandma the price of said hard drive. In the end, she got what she wanted. Thanks to my wonderful parents, aunts and uncles, and Eileen, she spent her last years and days at home on her hillside, which I don't think many of us suspected that she would do, let alone be here 9 years after Grandpa passed. For that, I think, in part, we have to thank the 3 youngest grandchildren who arrived after Grandpa's parting in 2017, Sylvan, Kuhn, and Eve, for pushing her on and giving us all the gift of more time with her. We'll make sure you know the privilege and honor of having Beth Brough as a grandmother. I mean, I'll probably talk about her too much, but only know because I'm forever grateful for that honor and privilege. But also know that, and this goes for all of us, that to feel and remember her, you don't need to reheat your cold, flavorless coffee in the microwave, eat burgers so raw the beef is practically still mooing, and as Auntie Heidi said earlier, take the speed limit as a mere suggestion. Maybe go with writing a card or picking a flower first.
Hello everyone, my name is Connor Sheehan, one of Beth's grandchildren. So I'd like to start off my few words by airing a grievance I have. So a few years back, when my grandmother was starting to think about her death, she had told the grandchildren that we could go through the house and choose an item that we'd like to keep. And I didn't want to think about her death at the time. And so during this visit, when she made that announcement, one time I was just going to the bathroom, and next to the toilet, there's this round metal rooster that holds toilet paper. And so, I wash my hands, and I go back out to the living room, and I tell my grandmother, I want that rooster. And she just smiled, laughed at me, and said, okay. About a year ago, it disappeared, so I think she did that to spite me, my stupid suggestion. Anyway, as I was reflecting on what I wanted just to say about my grandmother, jokes came to my mind. About 40% of my interactions, I broke it down in percentages, about 40% of my interactions with my grandmother were all through jokes. I had 4 greetings for her. The first, you can probably guess, is Grandma. Hey, Grandma. The second one, hey, beautiful, how you doing? The third, hey, Bethy. And the final one, which I'm sure she appreciated the most, was hey, old bag. I don't know if she wanted to hit me or she thought it was funny, but hey, that was our relationship. We joked around a lot. I threw out one-liners, quick remarks, snarky remarks, but she dished it right back. She had a really wonderful sense of humor. She'd call me something like a nincompoop or something, something silly, rotten egg, rascal. But she had a very wonderful sense of humor, and I loved to joke around with her. And mostly because of her smile and her laugh. So her smile, it's hard to describe, but she'd like lurch her whole head forward and it'd just be like her entire face. She just had a beautiful smile. And her laugh, it's kind of generous to call it a laugh. I want to call it a cackle. But she had the most beautiful cackle that I loved hearing on a daily basis. Now, the remaining 60% of our interactions. 30% catching up on life. She always wanted to hear how I was doing, how the grandchildren were doing. We talked about, what was just new, what new adventures we were going on, talking about the books we were reading, talking about what she was writing in her writing group, what she was learning when she was doing the Gould, classes. She was very inquisitive and deeply wanted to know about the world, about your life, and that's really true for all of her grandchildren, her friends. Just catching up and shooting the breeze. And the occasional heart-to-heart and debate, which I really did admire and appreciate. 15% of the interactions were probably music. So the Brough family, any gathering I have, any memories I have of the gatherings we've had, you have your dinner, you talk, you might play some football, and then it's time to pull out a guitar and pass it around, or to crowd around the piano. And when my grandfather was alive, he had a really powerful baritone voice, and he'd always be next to the piano. I think my grandmother relinquished that piano playing to my mother and her siblings. But my grandfather would always be up there with his powerful, beautiful baritone voice. But my grandmother would always be holding down the fort from the couch, from the sideline, with her steady alto, which is just absolutely beautiful in her harmonies. So music was a very important part of those interactions. 10% of our interactions were through written letters. So as Zach said, and as others have said, she never missed a birthday, she never missed a Christmas, she never missed a celebration when she couldn't be there. She had the penmanship of royalty, and much to her chagrin, I'm sure she received fewer letters from at least the Sheehan kids than she had sent out. So sorry for that, Grandma. But she had a beautiful writing, beautiful penmanship. And the last 5% is just a collection of warm embraces. I remember back scratches, I remember kisses, hugs, just snuggles. She was very affectionate. But one of the things I'll probably remember most about my grandmother is just her little words of affection. So it was never, I love you, it was, I love you dearly. It was never, Connor or Clara or Anna or Fran or Les. It was never just our names, it was name, darling, or name, my dear, name, dear, my love. And so I'll always remember, and I always will have it in my memory of Connor Darling, and her New England accent where the R's were not pronounced. I would butcher it if I tried to say it, but just really, really beautiful words of affection. She just loved us grandchildren so much. And so those are my interactions with my grandmother, and I'm sure the grandchildren would share similar stories. And I also just kind of want to add that I've always been very proud of my middle name. So my oldest brother is named after my dad's dad. My older sister, her middle name is Beth, after my grandmother. My younger brother's middle name is John, after my grandfather. And my middle name is Brough. And I've always been very proud that that's my middle name, that I'm a Brough. And I was reflecting on why that was. And it's really because of the culture and the family that both my grandfather and my grandmother created. With their jokes, their laughs, their goofiness, the tabletop boogie, with the music, with the letters, with the stories, with everything, with the bagels in the morning, just that culture that they created. And I just, a final word, just being around my grandmother in her final days, and being around my grandfather, his final days too, it's much of the same. It was just so beautiful to see all of our family and my grandmother's friends come around and surround her. And just seeing those aspects of what I admired so much in my grandmother. Hearing the dark jokes from my Uncle John, seeing the beautiful makeshift, like, I don't even know what it was made out of. It was like paper or something, the calendar you guys made, my Auntie Heidi, Auntie Holly, because they didn't want to buy a whiteboard, they just like wrapped around like an old poster. That was beautifully decorated. And seeing the mantle that had a USS ship hat on it, or flowers, just the decorations that they put there to make my grandmother's final day special, or to see just like my mom working tirelessly in the background, or my Uncle Bruce when they were moving my grandmother to her bed in the living room, just seeing him caress his mother's face, just saying, "It's okay, you're okay," and just seeing all those interactions and seeing the way that they treated my grandmother, and that goes to my fellow cousins as well. It was just so beautiful to see how my grandmother treated us and created this culture, how it's moving on and passing onwards. So those are my thoughts. Love you, Grandma, and thanks for listening.
But wait, there's more. You thought we were winding down, winding up. Bet you wish you had chosen the children's room. Just not with my youngest in there. So I need to begin. My name's Bruce, and I need to begin with a confession, which seems appropriate since we're here in church, although confessions are usually done in private, it's my understanding. I'm a hoarder. Just want to get it out there. Not in the conventional sense of the word. I don't keep stacks of newspapers. Keep stacks of newspapers and magazines in my house, creating channels to a bathroom. I don't have knickknacks and figurines spilling out and cascading off of every shelf. There are probably some of you out there who have Hummels and say, "I collect them, I don't hoard them." And I don't, unlike my father before me, have a multitude of snow blowers and weed whackers. Because, if one breaks down, you can always... Don't have that. No, I hoard letters from my mom. Down in our basement, I have a couple boxes with letters dating back to boyhood. To be sure, they're not all works of art. Some describe the weather or comment on her to-do list for the day, but some of them wax philosophical or share a deeper observation or question about our humanity. To me, they provide a treasured arc of her life, her thinking, her curiosity, even her humor, such as it was. And how many of you have received a letter from Mom? Pretty impressive, and if you didn't raise your hand, I suspect it's on its way. The late Stephen Jay Gould, who was an evolutionary biologist and paleontologist from Harvard, once wrote that you will not fight to save what you do not
love. He was speaking, of course, about the environment. How do you get to the point where you love or at least like nature so much that you fight to save it? Well, you ask questions, you find connections, and you seek a deeper understanding. Mom understood this intuitively when it came to people. She saw the good in most everyone and wanted to learn to love all dearly. And she also realized that curiosity and understanding aren't innate. They require cultivation through reading, discussion groups, expansive and flexible thinking, and writing. Lots and lots of writing. I think she also understood the difference between ideas and belief. The former can be sculpted, maybe even changed. The latter can be slightly more rigid. Mom tried to stay in the ideas zone, mostly, asking probing questions, digging into understanding, wielding some humor, and wanting to fight to save what she understood to be the fundamental goodness of a person, of humanity. There's a reason why people of all ages came to visit her. They didn't stay for 5 minutes. They stayed for 5 hours, sometimes 5 days, God forbid. They felt safe. They felt heard. So if we think of ourselves as stewards of all that is good, if we want to honor a life well lived by carrying a light forward, then here's your task. In that basket at the back of this hall, and there's another downstairs, there are postcards. This is the postcard. It's a very simple picture taken by my niece Clara on the morning Mom passed away, July 11th. And it's her view. It's the view from her place and includes a lot of things that she loved. We've already heard her love for the mountains, her love for flowers. There are geraniums in the foreground. It's a beautiful little picture. And we made postcards out of it, and I have put stamps on 100 of them. I live on a teacher's salary, so that's about all I could do. But there are some back there, there are some downstairs. Here's your charge. Write to someone in your own hand. Except you, Scott Bailey, no one can read your scratch. You need to cut and paste. Let them know the weather. Let them know your to-do list. And maybe ask one question of them, maybe two, that digs a little bit deeper. Open a dialogue. Maybe write something like Mom did to me and my family in her last letter to me, where she wrote, "I hope you have a wonderful time. Come back and see me soon. This visit was much too short. Love you with all my heart." I'm going to add this to my board.
I am the last one. My name is Martha, or Marty, as Mama B called me. I'm the wife of Bruce. I'm not going to share with you how Mama B was, or how quickly and generously she welcomed me into the Brough clan. I won't tell you about the time I nearly poisoned her with an apple cider vinegar tasting, for which she gracefully, but I suspect only conditionally, forgave me. Or when I realized that bridge was never going to be a pastime we would share. Or about the amazing flower gardener she was. Instead, I have something to ask all of you, but most particularly her grandchildren. I've always been impressed with Mama B's relationship with each of her grandchildren. She so clearly delighted in their talents, reveled in their conversations, and loved them all so mightily. She remembered every birthday, every performance, every small detail of their lives, and they have loved her back tenfold. It seems that any visit home must include a visit to Grandma. Each holiday ended with eager planning of the next. They called to tell her about every exciting or sad or challenging event. They shared things about their lives and confided information that aunts and uncles, and sometimes even parents, were not privileged to know yet. It was such a beautiful thing to see how Clara cared for her in those last days, despite all the pressures she was having. And this is just one small example of the love that Mama B shared with her grandchildren. I am the mother of 3 of those grandchildren, Sylvan, Kulin, and Ateeb, that I apologize for. Mama B has been a wonderful grandma to each of them, and they have each had special moments of snuggling, laughing, reading, looking at silly videos on her phone. They loved visiting with Grandma. However, they are very young, and their moments together with her are significantly shorter than the rest of you. 2 of them have never seen Grandma sled, or dance, or even walk to her mailbox. And this one here may never remember her face outside of a photograph, even though he was the last child who smiled delightedly when she kissed him the night before she died. I'm asking all of you, and especially her amazing older grandchildren, to keep her memory alive for my children. Please share the stories you cherish of her cakes, her competitiveness, her laughter, her cheers at your sports games, your plays, your concerts, her prolific letter writing, her hugs, her incredible strength, her love for your grandpa. You have all lost someone you loved and who loved you dearly. My children have lost that and the full measure of moments that provide comfort and smiles and memories later on. Your grandma was one of the most strongest, most remarkable women I have ever known, and I want her to be known and remembered by my children. And it is through you that she will remain vibrant and real to them. I have a quote I wanted to share that I discovered when I was struggling with the unexpected chaos of a difficult moment, and I had just found out I was pregnant with a teen. It lives next to my kitchen sink, and I read it every day and remember how love, both present and past, shapes the pattern of our lives and brings joy in those difficult moments. At the holidays, and on warm sunny days, and every day in between, be especially mindful be especially mindful of twinless twins and spouseless spouses. Be mindful of parentless children, partnerless partners, and petless pet owners. Be mindful of anyone living without the one they can't live without. And to all the grievers out there, vow to be the proof in someone else's life that love existed.
I know this is a long time to sit, so I invite you, if you'd like to stand and stretch, this is probably a good time to do that. The kids get to go out in the room and play, but I think the adults can stand, so sometimes if you'd like to stretch, please feel free to do so. Beth would have wanted us to move, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I think we need to remind people here about our I don't know what's going on. We have a way of working with kids too.
Yes.
So
There'll be a time, we're going to have a time of sharing pretty soon, where we'll be able to share some remembrances from those in the congregation. So I invite us now, I invite you to pray with me again. Let us pray. God of grace and love, we give you thanks for Beth's life and for all that she has meant to us. We thank you for the love that she shared with her family, for the friendships she cherished, and for the care and compassion she extended far beyond the circle of those closest to her. We thank you so much, God, for the way she noticed people. She noticed when someone was hurting, grieving, struggling, or celebrating, that she took the time to reach out. We thank you for her love of music, for her delight in birds, trees, woods, mountains, for her concern for our nation and its political life, and for her hope for a world shaped more fully by justice and peace. We thank you for her steady faith, for the assurance with which she entrusted herself to you. Receive our gratitude for all that Beth gave us. Forgive us for those things left undone or unsaid. Comfort those who mourn her most deeply. When grief feels heavy, bring to mind the sound of her voice, the sight of her handwriting, the music she loved, the countless ways her compassion became visible in this world. Help us to honor Beth by continuing the ministry she began, noticing one another, encouraging one another, offering words that sustain the weary. And when our own earthly lives are ended, gather us with Beth and with all your beloved children into that communion of love which has no end. And let us pray the prayer that Jesus taught his disciples. I invite us into the saying of the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Not sure who's leading the doxology. Oh, Tom is leading. Okay. Would you like people to rise for the doxology? Let us rise. Please be seated.
I had written good morning, but it's actually now good afternoon. Before I read a poem, I just wanted to say, because I feel remiss in not doing so. This is the second time I've spoken from the front of this church, and as with the first, it's to mourn somebody who I held very dear. And while a part of my heart is filled with tremendous sorrow at the loss of this incredible woman, Mrs. B, another part of my heart, larger part, is filled with boundless joy as I look out on all these faces. And my mind recounts the decades of friendship and love brought me through this Brough family, Holmberg family. Being able to call myself one of you is truly one of the greatest treasures of my life. When I needed much, they gave much. A poem, Epitaph by Merritt Malloy. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. When you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give to me. I want to give you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. If you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, and by letting bodies touch bodies, letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Thank you.
I know, I really like that.
I just noticed one.
To Canaan's land I'm on my way, where the soul of man never dies, where all my nights turn into day, and the soul of man never dies. Dear friends, there'll be no sad farewell, there'll be no tear dim eye, where all is joy and peace and love, and the soul of man never dies. A rose is blooming there for thee, where the soul of man never dies. It blooms for all eternity, and the soul of man never dies. Dear friends, there'll be no sad farewell, there'll be no tear dim night, where all is joy and peace and love, and the soul of man never dies. A love light beams across the foam, where the soul of man never dies. It shines to light the shores of home, and the soul of man never dies. Dear friends, there'll be no sad farewell, there'll be no tear dim night, where all is joy and peace and love, and the soul of man never dies. I'm on my way to that fair land, where the soul of man never dies, where there'll be no more parting and the soul of man never dies. Dear friends, there'll be no sad farewell, there'll be no tear dim night, where all is joy and peace and love, and the soul of man never dies. Dear friends, there'll be no sad farewell, there'll be no tear dim night, where all is joy and peace and love, and the soul of man never dies. And the soul of man never dies, and the soul of man never
Yeah. We're now moving into a time of brief remembrances, very brief remembrances. Anybody who'd like to share a remembrance? Keeping in mind that there is going to be a reception downstairs and everybody can also share your remembrances. So are there, if anybody would like to share reminiscence, the microphone will be brought to you in the pew. Just raise your hand, Ted will bring you the microphone.
The only thing to say is how blessed am I, how blessed we all have been that Beth was part of our lives.
Came into our life from another church in another town, and we met Walter and Beth, and continued Beth group. And one day she gave me a book, which many of you may have read, Tuesdays with Morgan. And she wrote it, and she said, we're going to have Wednesdays with Suzanne and Beth. That started in 1998. And until the time she passed, she called, or I called her, and we discussed the family and all her friends. But I truly believe she was able to stay where she did because of all of you who she loves so dearly, her family and the members of the church. And we really made it possible. But it was a one, I truly don't know what my life would have been without after all. We had a great time. And they even took in my relatives from Germany. My sister-in-law sends her love. She lives in Germany and she loved that. Thank you. I think I must call on Nancy. I had the free phone.
Hi, I'm Amy, and I knew Beth best through our writing group. And I knew this was going to be a great funeral. And the reason I knew that is because through Beth's writing, her beautiful, beautiful writing, I know a whole lot more about all of you than I do. And I'm so happy to see that you are kind of like a cross between the family Von Trapp and the Brady Bunch. I grew up in a big family, not this big, and we love each other very much. But we didn't always say those words. And the thing I learned from Beth, because she would always, at the end of the writing group, when we would say goodbye, she would say, I love you. And you can say those words. You can say them to friends, family. And it's great. It doesn't take anything away from you, and it's great. So, friends and family, if I randomly start telling you I love you, which I've already been doing, and crediting Beth, I said it to a bunch, I said it to my nephew, who looked a little blank, but I said, I learned this from my friend Beth, so I'm just going to tell you because I'm feeling it. I love you. So that's what I learned from Beth, and plus a whole lot about all of you. So I love you, Beth. I love all of you.
When I was a senior in high school, I was invited to go to a Naval Academy for spring week or something. And anyway, I stayed at the home of Beth and Walter Brough, and their two small children during that week, which was a few 24 hours ago, I must admit. And ever since then, Beth and I and Walter have loved one another. She has been a role model for me, a person who gave her all, always, to everyone and everything she believed in. when I was in the Peace Corps in Cameroon, and when I was there, I had letters from Beth on a regular basis, of course, and when I came back from Cameroon, she said, why don't you stop by and see my brother in Italy? My mother's over there, so I did, and spent time. I feel like I kind of know the whole damn family in my own way. We may not have met, but I know about you. And I just always have loved Beth and consider her dear to my heart. And I'm so grateful to be here with you all today to share the love that we have for her. And it's not a goodbye as far as I'm concerned, because she's always been with me and she always will be. Thank you.
My name's Belinda. I'm a member of the church here, and I only have known Beth in recent years, but have experienced all the things you talk about. And we've lost, a number of people, older people in our church, and we mourn each one. But Beth in particular, here I am crying through the service. I think of her as mourning when we look at the most beautiful garden and we have our favorite flower, and you just relish the time it blooms. And Beth really bloomed. And at the end of the season, we know a season has passed, and that flower has faded and is now gone. But we do have hope that the flowers, the seeds sown will bloom again. And I just want to say that. And God bless everybody.
My name is Susan, and I didn't have the pleasure of knowing Brough, but I have had the good fortune to be friends with Holly and Sean for 40 years. And if anyone needs any proof of that spirit living on, I can tell you a funny story. Holly came with me when I was having cancer treatments, and my blood counts were too low to get the chemo that we went there for that day. And I was devastated, and Holly gave me a patented Holly hug, as only she can do. And as we were walking out with our matching Williams College flannel pajama pants, the security guard at Dana-Farber said, oh, next time you come back, you'll have to give us a rendition of your school song. Well, he clearly didn't know who he was talking to. So we dropped all of our bags on the floor, and in the middle of the Dana-Farber waiting room, broke out into a rousing rendition of The Mountains. And everybody clapped, and we laughed, and we cried happy tears. And so if anyone can turn a failed chemo session into a song and a laugh, it is clearly a Brough. And I think now I understand why.
My name is Henry Lee, and I'm fortunate enough to be a first cousin of Beth's. And I can remember as a child going to Child Street when Beth was a child and I was a child. She was a few years older than I, and there was Saturday night, there was always music in the house, and I'll never forget it. But she was a great girl and a great woman, and I've enjoyed being with the family and staying close to Beth for all these years, and it's been a pleasure. And it's been a pleasure watching all the families grow up and fortunate enough to stay pretty close to most of them all these years. And I hope to continue with.
Now, as we prepare to leave this place, may we carry Beth's love with us. When someone is weary, may we offer a sustaining word. When someone feels forgotten, may we help them know that they are remembered. When the world is divided, may we continue Beth's work for compassion, justice, and peace. And may the God who called Beth into life, accompanied her through all her days, and has now received her into eternal peace, bless and keep us. May love surround us, may grace sustain us, and may the music of Beth's life continue to sound within us this day and always. Amen.
Thank you so much for sticking around for this rather long service. But what's that?
Don't forget to invite him back for food.
Yes, there'll be food downstairs, as you've heard, reception downstairs after this. We're going to end with a song called Elemental, which my band, the Wall Styles, has played for quite some time. Actually, it's an original piece, and it's one that actually can involve you. And that was so important to my mother. You know, we'd play out and start doing our thing, and then she'd be like, can you play a song where everyone can sing along? And so that's what we're going to try to do. Doesn't really require too much of you. You can make one of two sound effects, all right? So the first would be, so if you're inclined that way, do that. If you don't like that, go for woo-woo, right? And if you're doing the maybe do this while you're doing it, yeah, and then okay. So at the end, Heather's going to be the director when it comes to this, because I'll be playing guitar. So watch Heather. Heather will tune you in, like when you should do your thing and when you should back off. All right?
Choir director.
Yeah, she's the quiet.
That's when I'll do that.
And we're going to have Mr. Fox. Where's John Fox?
Behind you.
There he is, John. Dave, if you want to come up and play this too, you're welcome to. But okay, I don't know where to stand here, John. Here we go.
Here, go stand.
Okay, so
So not good.
May the wind blow the hat from your head. May the wind blow you over and remind you you can stand. May the wind blow. May the rain pour down on your place. May the rain soak your soul and remind you you can feel. May the rain fall. The sun make you cry and remind you you can smile. May the sun shine. Get what you need and learn what you can. Find yourself and then move on down that road. May the train whistle blow too loud. May the train make you pine and bring you right back home. May the train whistle blow.
Please join us downstairs. We're going to historically examine tons of food. We don't want to leave hungry.
Do a little half up, half down. Keep
Are we still live? Quietly. Go on,
Brought her down. Huh? You know, you were tiger.